Alright, so let's look at some of the things that I think we learned from the first tournament in Barrie. So this is basically things that I've come to the conclusion of after watching a lot of videos and talking with some other people and stuff like that following the Barrie tournament. So these are things that are open for discussion, but these are my thoughts following that. So what I'm going to summarize here, basically, our robot and team's strengths and weaknesses as I see them. Review of some of our matches, which I think I've covered in some of the other videos that I've done. Some of the time studies and efficiency, because I think this game is really about efficiencies, particularly this year. And then some suggestions of how I think we can improve going into the next event. So, our strengths as I see them. I think our robot is really fast and is very stable as well. That's one of the things we're seeing is the tall robots are very tippy. They can't really maneuver or handle very well. Ours is very, very fast. It's you look at the really good teams and they seem to be fast, and ours is right up there as well, which is why we did so well, I think. So great job with that. We handle cubes very fast and reliably, and that's something a lot of teams have really struggled with. Even at the Ryerson event, I thought it was just going to be something at the the week 1 event of the year that we were at. But even at the Ryerson event, some of the things that I watched there, teams still had a real hard time just picking up cubes and carrying them and not dropping them and stuff like that. And we are really, really strong at that. That is really good for us. We are also one of the fastest teams I've seen at working on the vault. And I think we did a really good job at gauging how valuable that was going to be and figuring that out ahead of time, which I think teams have not concentrated on that. We have, and we've gotten a lot of success out of it. It's a good job with our kind of our blind strategy there of not even seeing the game played, but figuring out that was going to be important. So we've done that really well, and it's valuable, and we're good at it. So great work there. Our autonomous mode is really good compared to a lot of other teams that are still really struggling with our autonomous mode. Ours is top in that. We're very reliable with it, and it works great. We can climb, which I'm surprised a lot of teams can't. We can do that. I think we've got some issues there, which I'll talk about a bit later. And the last thing is we are very reliable. There's still an awful lot of robots we're seeing that are just breaking down halfway through a match. And we did get into some issues later on, but we were able to fix them pretty quickly with that encoder wiring. But other than that, we were very reliable all the way through the qualifications and into the playoffs. So we were a very good, reliable robot. And we basically went out and did our job every match we played. So very good there. Weaknesses that I see, it's very obviously that we don't do the scale, and that shows to be a very valuable trait. So we basically need to team with a scale robot. The ones that really seem to be dominating are the ones that can do both. Like 1360, I saw a video where they basically just worked on the vault. They did it super fast. And we also know they can do the scale really well. They're just good at everything. So there's definitely some robots that are good at everything, and we don't do the scale. So we're not an everything robot, but we're very good at our niche. I think our climb is too slow to be effective. We kill a lot of time doing that, and I think we could be using our time better at other things. I'll show that a little bit later on in this. Our climb is really cool, and I think that gets us consideration for awards because of the way we do it, which I think is very innovative and looks cool, and it's fun to do. But I think to really be effective, I think it's too slow the way it is right now. we don't have a double climb capability. Now, I've seen the Ryerson tournament, the team that won had a awesome forklift that they would drop down. That was really good. I think there was one other team there that had a bar that they would hang off the back. So I think there was 2 teams that had double climb capability. We only saw the one. 1305 had those arms that flew out from the sides. There was another team that had the ramps that came down, but it didn't work. So it seems like not many teams have tried that strategy with double climb. We accommodate. We're one of the only ones that climb from the side, so we actually accommodate a second climbing robot, but we never got to put that into practice. And the last thing is our scouting and selection process definitely needs to get better. That's something we're new at. I think we can improve there. So let's talk a little bit about scoring efficiency. Just run through some of this first. For the vault, from all the time studies that I've been doing, and basically what I've been doing here is going through all of our matches and watching videos and basically breaking down how long does it take us to do everything in each of our matches. And from what I'm coming up with from these, on average, we are about 10 seconds per cube to do the vault. Sometimes they go a lot longer. Sometimes they go as short as about 6 seconds. But it's probably about 10 seconds per cube if you want to plan something. So that means about 90 seconds to run the whole thing. I think the fastest we did it was about 75 seconds to run 9 cubes. Each of these cubes individually is worth 5 points, and the individual points can vary on that depending on what we do with them. For example, the levitate. So let's say the levitate, that takes us basically 30 seconds to get 3 cubes for the levitate. That's worth 15 points on its own. You get an extra 25 points for the levitate, assuming that someone is actually on the platform. So we are investing 30 seconds of work for this to basically get 40 points. And we pretty much always get 40 points for it. The boost, once again, that's 3 cubes in 30 seconds. We can get anywhere from 0 to 20 points for using that boost ability. So basically, that's 15 points for the cubes, an extra 0 to 20 points. So anywhere for between 15 to 35 points. Let's say we're going to get about 30 points on average for that. So let's say the boost is worth about 30. And the force, 15 for the cubes. Now this is kind of a 2-part thing because it's 2 points per second. Yeah, so 2 points per second if we're taking the scale and the switch. So assuming we're playing a 3 cube boost. Plus it takes away the scale from the other team. So that can be up to a 30-point differential altogether because you're removing their ability to score points on the scale. So basically that could get us anywhere between 15 and 45 points. So let's say we're going to get about 35 points from that on average. So we'll say we're going to take the scale from the other team. We've already got possession of our switch, but we're going to take possession of the scale from the other team and get 20 points total out of that. So let's say that's going to be worth about 35 points every time we play it. Climbing. So to do this, I'm counting for a climb. I'm saying that is moving to the platform, deploying the hook, retracting it, climbing, and then waiting afterwards. Because we don't finish our climb at time 0. We seem to be a couple seconds afterwards. So this takes about 50 seconds on average for us to do that. It is 25 points for the climb itself. And we've got to consider that if we are too slow, because this has happened to us a few times, if we are too slow or if something goes wrong during our climb, we only get 5 points just for being on the platform. So let's say on average we're getting about 25 points, is the most common thing, but that is costing us 50 seconds total time to do that activity. Parking is just moving onto the platform. Oh, that should not be. Let's just move to the platform. And that one is going to take us about 10 seconds. And that is worth 5 points. So let's look at this one here. Attacking their switch. This is something we tried a couple times. We've seen lots of other teams do it. So this is moving down to their switch. Let's say we're going to drop 3 cubes on their switch. Now, when we've done it, it took us about 20 seconds per cube to do it, on average. Now, this is going to have multiple effects when we do this. First thing is they need to use cubes to take back their switch. So most robots are going to take about 15 seconds to process a cube and place it on their switch. So if they needed to do that, they would need to place 3 cubes to counteract what we've done to retake their switch, which is going to mean they're going to lose vault points, bonuses, and switch points because they're basically doing this activity instead of retaking their switch. And the earlier in the match this is done, the more effect that it has. You've got to consider that because everything is time-based. So let's assume that we spend 60 seconds dropping 3 cubes on their switch. We take possession of it after the first cube, and they need to spend 45 seconds dropping 3 cubes to take it back. So they are not going to score points for 45 seconds. So we've gained 45 points on them by doing this. They put 3 fewer cubes into their vault because of this. So let's say they lose their boost power-up. So that's going to be another 30 points that they've lost because of that. So let's say we've spent 60 seconds doing this activity. We are going to gain a total of 75 points by doing this. Basically because we've disabled their switch for 45 seconds, and they are going to lose vault points because of this. So 45 and 30, about 70 points. Let's say we invest 60 seconds, we can cost them 70 points, or gain us 70 points effectively. So let's look at these, all these activities that we do. This is basically how long it takes, what they're worth. So this is how we have been spending our time during our matches. We've been basically doing the vault and climbing. And this, on average, takes us about 140 seconds. We're basically using up our entire match time. And we're gaining about 130 points based off of these activities. What I think would be an optimized activity for us what happened to my slide? Okay, I lost my slide for a second there. So how we could be spending this time. I think we should start by attacking their switch. 60 seconds there gets us 75 points. Then work on the vault, do the levitate, do the boost, and then with whatever remaining time we have, do as much of the force as we can. This adds up to a total of 150 seconds. Which is over our time, but that is 180 points altogether. So depending on how much of the force we can get done, will vary on that, but that is more, significantly more than the 130 points we're doing right now. So we're not climbing here, we're not even going to the platform, and the one thing I think we can do is this 60 seconds, I think we can get a lot faster on that. There is much faster ways to do that than 20 seconds per cube right now. So, how can we improve? Realistic ways. I think we need to improve the way that we work at the other end. Best way to do that I see is adding a camera or replacing the camera better. Does that help us? We need to learn to take cubes out of the portals in the corners, like 4039 does. They do that really effectively and very fast. We can even automate that process with adding a sensor in there that detects when the cube is on, and then maybe have an automatic process that as soon as that is on, do a back up a little bit, spin 180, and then you're ready to move forward to make that go a couple seconds faster. Communication. Can we be signaling from the stands to let the drive team know what the status is on the other switch? Are we up by 1? Are we down by 2? What can we do there? And then some scouting things. We could pre-scout all the other teams using video because everybody has competed already. We can promote ourselves. We can make up a little highlight video or something like that and a fact sheet to distribute to the other teams. And a couple